You're listening to AI PRISM from Seoul Economic Daily.
It's Friday, May 29th. Here's today's front page from Seoul Economic Daily. Korea's central bank held rates at 2.5% today, the eighth consecutive hold since July last year. But the real story isn't the hold. It's what Governor Shin Hyun-song said afterward. In his first press conference as BOK governor, Shin made the path unusually explicit. Growth, inflation, the exchange rate, real estate. He said all four factors are pointing in the same direction. That direction is up. Market consensus has moved immediately to July for the first hike. The dot plot confirmed it. 19 of 21 committee entries indicated a rate increase, with 10 dots landing at 3% by year-end. The BOK also upgraded its growth forecast for 2026 to 2.6%, up from 2% in February, driven by semiconductor exports that have exceeded all prior expectations. Inflation was revised up to 2.7%, citing prolonged Middle East conflict. In an optimistic scenario where the U.S.-Iran war ends early and semiconductor momentum continues, the BOK's own research suggests growth could reach 3.2%. Analysts are calling this the potential arrival of a 3-3-3 new normal: 3% rates, 3% growth, 3% inflation, simultaneously. Elsewhere on today's front page, Korea's National Pension Service, the world's third largest pension fund with assets of approximately $840 billion, voted to raise its domestic equity target from 14.9% to 20.8%. The KOSPI has surged past 8,000, pushing the fund's actual equity exposure to roughly 30%, far above even the new target. Without the ceiling adjustment, the NPS would have been forced to sell over 200 trillion won, roughly $140 billion, back into the market. That forced sell-off risk has now been largely neutralized for 2026 and into 2027. The NPS also expanded its strategic asset allocation band beyond the previous 3 percentage point boundary, but chose not to disclose the new figures publicly to prevent front-running. The third story, Samsung Electronics' Labor Management Performance Bonus Agreement is heading to a shareholder vote in early 2027. The deal, which would distribute treasury shares as employee bonuses, requires general meeting approval under Korea's revised commercial code. Foreign investors hold 48% of Samsung Electronics. Minority shareholder groups have already announced legal action. Similar bonus demands are now spreading to Hyundai Motor, whose union is demanding 30% of net profit, and to Kakao, which is heading toward its first-ever company-wide strike after mediation collapsed. Investment banking simulations suggest Samsung's total performance bonus obligations could reach 37 trillion won this year, 49 trillion won in 2027, and 45 trillion won in 2028, 131 trillion won over 3 years, or roughly $92 billion. The Korea discount concern is explicit. KOSPI dividend yield has fallen to approximately 0.8%, down from 2.1% a year ago. Shareholders are asking whether corporate growth is flowing to employees first and investors second. Finally, at Seoul Forum 2026 on May 28th, University of Washington professor Soo-In Lee argued that trustworthiness, not raw performance, will be the decisive competitive factor for AI in high-stakes domains. She developed the SHAP framework, the most widely used tool globally for explaining AI model decisions. And Rebellion's CEO Park Sung-hyun laid out the inference chip thesis. A market projected to reach $475 billion by 2030, larger than DRAM, CPU, and NAND flash combined. Rebellion's claims 5 to 7 times price efficiency versus competing systems, with Samsung Electronics, SK Hynix, ARM, and Marvel as strategic investors. That's today's AI PRISM Front Page Daily. This episode was produced with AI assistance based on Seoul Economic Daily reporting and reviewed by a human editor. AI PRISM is a WAN IFRA award-winning series. We'll be back tomorrow.
You've been listening to AI PRISM from Seoul Economic Daily.